wants to get away with, get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in and his administration with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
Wow. Welcome back. News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. I'm Jim Smith, Big Jim Smith, in for Chris Kroc on the Chris Kroc Show. It was so painful to watch. It was the longest hour and a half of having to watch him suffer through every answer and have the arrogance to think that he was doing great. And to call out Donald Trump and his golf game. And God bless Donald Trump for just taking the high road, biting his tongue. He could have said a whole lot more. But the reality is, any of us who have had family members who have battled with dementia or Alzheimer's, mental illness, especially in their senior years, we get it. I'm fearful of it. My great-grandfather had dementia. He died of dementia-related diseases, and so it's in my gene pool. Where is Big Jim Smith going to be in 15 years? Mentally, emotionally. I'm hoping that I'll be able to communicate the level I do right now at 64, but there's no promises. The human element means that I might have to duck back and bow back and let my family take care of me, and they make that sacrifice to care for me and make me comfortable in my waning years. But that's not happening in the Biden household. You know, Jill's ex-husband even said, "Good gosh, back off, woman." She is so part of that. First of all, she's got to be called doctor all the time. Get a freaking job. You know, you can't check my prostate. I'm not going to call you doctor. And I know she went and got her doctorate in education, but, you know, enough is enough. She's the First Lady Jill Biden. She's not teaching anything, but it's so self-centered and sanctimonious. They're all about self-serving. The millions of dollars they've made through his process in politics, she doesn't want the gravy train to stop. You've got a man that is senile. He is demonstrating senility, who is insisting that he's going to run to be the president of the greatest country in the universe. I'm pretty sure it's in the universe. I'm just guessing, but I'm pretty sure. The greatest country in the universe for the next 4 years. It can't happen. Something has got to turn. But we've got a young generation that are just so bought into the liberal politic, to the transgenderism. They want you to believe science during COVID, but they won't look at science as it relates to gender identity. They want you, it's wishy-washy, willy-nilly, and it's confusing to up-and-coming youth. And then they go to our high schools and our universities and are indoctrinated by the left. And this is creating a huge issue. So let me backtrack to our celebration of Independence Day. All of these issues feed into what are most Americans who aren't proud to be, they don't feel patriotic, what are they celebrating tomorrow? What are you celebrating? I'm curious, if you consider yourself a patriot, why? Tell me why you're a patriot. What makes you feel patriotic? 1-800-288-WBAP. That's 800-288-9227. love to be involved in politics. I was a district chairman, a legislative district chairman in our state. And when I moved, I had to relinquish that position. But I am very active. I show up at precinct committee meetings, at county precinct committee meetings for the GOP. I offer to help. We've got to be a part of the solution. Now, part of the problem we're having in the GOP is the chasm there, where there's a left and a right in the GOP itself, and that fights against the left of the Democrat Party or the others who would, the independents who would lean more towards the left. The chasm in the Republican Party itself has got to be healed, and we've got to clean the swamp out, as Donald Trump refers to it. Guys like Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney, who I'm sure are wonderful human beings, but they're terrible citizens. They are absolutely horrific citizens. For them to say that they will not support Donald Trump based on his character, then that leaves one option. What do you say to them? What would you say to Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan if you were looking at them face to face about their decision to not support the correct, the right, the better candidate because they don't believe that he has the depth of character that they want to see, but they believe Joe Biden does? I don't get it. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227, the number to call. I'm going to... Eddie, if you don't mind hanging on, because I don't want to lose you on this call. It's about patriotism, and I want to make sure that we have the time to talk. If I bring you on, we're only going to have about 60 seconds, and I don't think that's enough time for you to talk about where you're at with your patriotism. So hang in there. If you'd like to be a part of the show, 800-288-WBAP, that's 800-288-9227. You can email me, and I'd love to get your emails. Here's the problem. I tell you now to email me, and I promise when I wrap up the show, I get 2 or 3 emails that get missed because I'm already done with the program. You know that the first hour repeats at 11 o'clock. And so we really wind our part up at 11 o'clock. So if you want to get in, this is the time to do it. So please if you're going to send me an email, do it now. Jim@BigJimSmith.net. You can also send me a message on Facebook Messenger, and it's Big Jim Smith is my handle. Send me a friend request. I've already had 4 people from Texas that are listening tonight that have added to my friends list, and I love getting the chance to get to know you better, and you'll get to see everything going on in the life of Big Jim Smith. Yeah, it's not that great. Oh, goodness. Lots going on. It's Independence Day Eve. We're celebrating the greatest country in the history of the world tomorrow. Another birthday for the United States of America, and I'm excited to have you be a part of talking about it tonight. We'll be back with Eddie from Addison. We'll be back with your calls and the Chris Crock Show coming up next on Newstalk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Cruising along, about 16 minutes after 10. Big Jim Smith in for Chris Crock on Newstalk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. We've been talking about Biden, Trump, the debate, patriotism, how you're feeling about the country. I'm absolutely blown away at this study that shows that only 39% of Americans feel extreme patriotism. Because I've always felt, I never served in the military, but when I'm at a parade tomorrow at the Independence Day parade in our little community, when the flags and the old veterans come by, I get a lump in my throat and a tear in my eye, and I'm so grateful for those people that would sacrifice all so that I can have what I have. How in the hell do people miss this in this world? I don't get it. Eddie and Addison, thank you for listening to WBAP and welcome to the show. Tell me about what your thoughts are. I see the topic here on the screen, but I want to let you share what your thoughts are.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are. Can you hear me okay?
I can. I appreciate you being here.
Wonderful. Well, good to hear you. Love your show. Listen, I am on the fence of patriotism right now, okay? I remember the bicentennial. I was in Philadelphia in 1976 to celebrate. I remember the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag of the United States of America. I remember the feeling of this country. I remember Vietnam. I remember all these things. And what this country has turned into is an absolute disgusting nightmare of non-patriotism, of censorship, of silencing, of shaming people for having their own opinion. And patriotism is supposed to be a place where you have your own opinion, and everybody says, "Oh, well, that's your opinion." So, but we respect it, but we like to go ahead and disagree. But now everybody's being canceled. These little, I'm going to save my bad words.
Oh, good. We've got a delay, but it's easier if you just don't say them.
These wallflower losers who can't even look in the mirror. Everybody's protesting around the nation. I'm Jewish also. People are protesting against the Jews. It's the same thing that they're doing in California with Gaston, the district attorney, who's calling the criminals the victims and the victims the criminals. So 1,200 Jews. I'm just going into what patriotism is and how everybody's twisting everybody's words and everybody's twisting everybody's thoughts and trying to shut everybody up. Patriotism, love your country, pay your taxes, obey the law. Don't be a jerk off. Be awesome, but they don't give you that opportunity because they're opening our borders, because they're raising our gas. It doesn't feel patriotic. It feels like they're literally stealing from the people of the nation.
Do you feel like you're having socialism or communism shoved down your throat, and they're not even being shy about it?
They're not even being shy about it. But I'll tell you what the worst thing is. This non-president, not voted in president, nobody do nothing in life. Nobody, Joe Biden and his loser son and his loser family who did nothing in their whole life, sits there and lies about the border, lies that they can't get stuff done because of the Republicans. But on in the 2020 debate against Donald Trump, that piece of junk said he's opening the border, come across, and we're getting away with, we're getting out of fossil fuels. It's gone. He literally said it to the people, and they said, you know what? We don't like Trump, even though we liked him coming up in the 80s and the 90s with his buildings and all his stuff and all his success and his failures. They loved it when he got bankrupt, and then he came back, and then he did The Apprentice, and all of a sudden he did The Apprentice. Everybody loved him. They watched him, millions of viewers. As soon as he walks down the escalator, the left went mad. They not only went mad, they lost. I hold the left in contempt through all eternity to what they did.
Well, my issue is that they're not even shy about it. Whether it's the drag queens in the libraries reading to our kids.
No, they're not. Not only are they not shy about it, the people who voted for them and the people who are backing them and the absolute diarrhea that is coming out of their mouths in the support of this doomed non-government trash pile of junk swamp of, I can't even believe. AOC has no idea. She never took math because she's coming up with all this stuff to do for the country. We ain't got no money.
Well, her and Bernie Sanders, they're peas in a pod. They want to spend to the point that you and I won't have anything and will have to depend on them for everything. They'll have plenty. They will have plenty. You and I, Eddie and Big Jim, will have nothing. If they have
Jim,
their way.
check it out. Check this out, Jim. The worst part of this all, Jim, is that, and if you're listening and you're on the left, I'd like you to tell me why. I would love to hear your justification for backing the worst government in the history of this nation, driving this country into a pool of tar. What about the people who are supporting and voted for this guy and want to vote for again and backing him up and backing his little failing policies, taking money out of our truckers' hands by jacking up the gas prices and oil prices around the world? I'm going to tell you right now, Jim, you ready for this? You're going to love me.
I'm ready.
Okay. I would love to run for president. I don't really want.
You're very well spoken, Eddie. You're very well spoken, and you're very passionate. You've got two scores with me right there.
I don't want the hype, but I'm saying right now, if we go, by the way, it's a green scam deal. It is an all fake. No one wants your stupid jerk off electric cars. The only electric car I want is on the golf cars, and I want to roll around the golf cars in my electric car. But I'm going to tell you right now, if we get this country back to full energy independence and complete energy export, that will fill in the gap of deficit that we have in this nation, the trillions. We will then take that surplus of extra money, because we got gas, and one of my best friends owns the largest deposit of natural gas in the United States of America. I'm dialed in. If we get that gas pumping again, if we do that drilling and we make that happen, we will pay off the deficit. We can lower taxes to a flat rate. A flat rate of 22.5% for every citizen in this country, no more. And guess what? Whatever the jerk off government collects, that's what we spend. Not a freaking dime more. And if we got departments that are fat and that are over bloated and full of cellulite, we're going to cut people out of the government. Half of
Well,
them.
we've got to stop. The pork projects, the study of the tsetse fly in Lower Slobovia, and sending millions of dollars on a pork project to go down there. That's part of the ridiculousness of it. Okay, so I've got to ask you. You're pretty passionate. I was looking at Idiocracy. Have you seen that movie?
I have not.
Okay, you got to go watch Idiocracy, and then do me a favor, find me on social media, and you're going to die. It was supposed to be a comedy, and now it's a documentary. It's Owen Wilson. We can go watch Idiocracy. If you got to pay $2.99 on Netflix or whatever to rent it, watch it, and then send me a note on Facebook. I want to hear your thoughts on it with your passion. Idiocracy is absolutely it's a documentary of what we're experiencing right now, and it was done as a comedy about a guy fell asleep or was put in a chamber and came back decades later to this country that was just like ours is today, but it was a joke. It was all a joke. It's not a joke anymore. It's not a comedy anymore. It's real. And Eddie, you got it. You got the feel. Eddie, I appreciate you hanging in there. And next time all I ask is that you tell me how you really feel when you call. I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy. Hey, happy Independence Day tomorrow.
You better remember me, Eddie Rubin, when I send you the note.
I will do it. I'll watch for you, and I'm looking forward to seeing what your thoughts are on the movie Idiocracy. Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate you being a part of the show. If you want to join us, 800-288-WBAP. That's 800-288-9227. You don't have to have the passion of Eddie, but it'd be fun. So give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Or you can email me, jim@bigjimsmith.net. We've got more of the Chris Crock Show coming up just around the corner for you, so don't go away. The calls have been phenomenal. We're on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Oh, it's getting long in the show. Hey, it's Big Jim Smith in for Chris Crock on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. So glad to be here. I love catching up with my Texas family. This has been a great conversation tonight. Had some great calls. This is phenomenal. If you want to have your chance to get in, this is the time to do it. 800-288-WBAP. That's 800-288-9227. Big Jim Smith in for Chris Crock tonight. I think Chris is out tomorrow again, but I was not able to cover tomorrow. I've got other obligations that include fireworks, but it's going to be my patriotic self doing my patriotic thing with my family and a few good patriots in the red state in which I live. It's going to be a lot of fun. So the question is, how is your patriotism level, and what are you feeling? You heard Eddie. That was pretty passionate. Eddie. His patriotism is waning, but it's only because he's tired of where things are at. How are you feeling? Does the economy affect your sense of patriotism as we go into Independence Day tomorrow? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Give me a call because I'd love to have this conversation with you before we wrap up today. How are you feeling about Independence Day tomorrow? There's such a chasm and it's such a divide, and it's by design. You got guys like George Soros that they are hell-bent on destroying this country because they own such a large chunk of it. And it will put them in absolute power if the country fails because they own so much of it. They're willing to take the financial loss for the net gain. Does that make sense to you? He's worth tens of billions of dollars, and he's willing to give up a few $1 billion to be the last man standing with many $1 billion. And there are others like him, and they're lining the pockets of the Bidens of the world, the Clintons of the world, the Obamas. The Obamas have almost $50 million worth of homes in 4 locations. How the heck did they do that? He was an attorney. You know? What the heck? He wasn't like an ambulance chaser either. He was he was teaching law. And then he became a senator, and they make $165,000. What the heck? How do you get $50 million? It's not his Netflix deal. Somehow. I don't know. Lloyd in Frisco, welcome to WBAP. Appreciate you being a part of the show. What are your thoughts?
Hey, love your show, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much. I want to say Eddie's got my vote in 4 years, man. And also, you're hearing about how they're saying the governors have Biden's back. What happened to having the back of the people?
Exactly. When they said that, when that was the comment from the Maryland governor, oh, excuse me. Oh, I got a little frog in my throat there. When the Maryland governor said he had our backs, so now we've got his back. How did he have their backs? Number one, unless it's part of his elite class that he takes care of. Did he slip some money to the Maryland government? He had their backs, huh? So how do they have his, right?
Exactly right. But it should be about the people, not about the one individual.
So how do you feel like Joe Biden's had your back the last 3.5 years?
He hasn't at all. Everything's worse in the last 3.5 years than it was the previous 4.
There's no redeeming value of the last 3.5 years.
I wish that Trump would ask him in the next debate. You know, what can you possibly say that would have people, feel confident about voting for you?
Well, I got the economy. It was 9% when I took over, and no one's been killed. No service members killed. That's what he's going to do. He's going to stand there and do what Biden does best, and that's lie through his stinking teeth. And that's the problem. Is he doesn't like us. He hates us. He sees. I honestly, and I've felt this since he was elected. I think Biden is doing this to spite us for not electing him before. That when he finally got into place, now he's going to show us a thing or two, and that's what he's been doing.
I don't think he was supposed to even get in there in the first place, but we allowed the media to make it a one-topic election.
Yep, exactly. Yes. And because he didn't have to pay for most of his campaign advertising. It happened by nature through the left-wing media, the mainstream media.
Yep. Thank you for your time, boss.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate the call. Thanks, Lloyd, and have yourself a great Independence Day tomorrow. So what keeps you independent, patriotic as we're approaching Independence Day? What are you doing? Are you hanging your flag? Are you putting out some bunting on the front of the house? I always love that when I drive through neighborhoods and somebody's lined the windowsills with bunting. You know what bunting is? Those red, white, and blue half circle deals that are made out of fabric. Yeah, that bunting. Why would I know that? It's because I'm old. And bunting was a thing when I was a kid, I guess. I don't know. But what are you doing to show your patriotism as we go into Independence Day tomorrow? Do you feel like your patriotism is waning? I'd like to know. 1-800-288-WBAP, 1-800-288-9227. So Trump has gotten another big boost in the polls after the debate performance. It looks like I mean, these are liberal polls that he's winning. It's edged up 49% to 41%. And that puts Biden at far beyond any margin of error of losing this election. 49 to 43% in one poll, 49 to 41% in another poll. These are New York Times, Siena College polls. These are liberals running these polls, and they can't sugarcoat them. So what's the cover going to be come November? I'm more anxious. I don't care about the George Stephanopoulos interview because I know it's just going to be sugar-coated, candy-coated crap. It's going to be. They're saying that they're gonna if they're going to let him show his true self, is because George Stephanopoulos and his puppet masters, Bill and Hillary, are trying to push Biden out. They're trying to get Biden off the ticket, and so they're going to let George expose Biden more than he already did at the debate, so that it gives the Democrats a good excuse to force another candidate. Now, can they? They can. The Democrat Party, like the Republican Party, is a private party. And if you're not complying to party rules, to the party platform, they can remove you. They can tell you can't run. You can't use their brand. Now, Biden could run for re-election as an independent, as anything but a Democrat, if the Democrat Party says you cannot be a Democrat in this election. But will that happen? I don't know. The proof in that pudding is going to happen on August 22nd on that stage at the Democratic National Convention, when somebody walks out on that stage as the nominee for the Democrat Party to run against Donald J. Trump. Will it be Joe Biden? I don't know. What are your thoughts? 800-288-WBAP, 1-800-288-9227. That's the number for you to call. We've got one more chance for you to get in here and give your 2 cents worth. Tell me what you think. Is it going to be Joe Biden against Donald Trump in November? That's what we're going to find out here through the remainder of this summer. 1-800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. It's the Chris Crock Show. I am Big Jim Smith, filling in for Chris tonight, right here on News Talk 820, WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Yeah. It is Independence Day 2024. Coming up tomorrow, Independence Day Eve. I'm Big Jim Smith in for Chris Crock on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. What a great station and a heritage station. 100 years, 101 years now, I think. WBAP has been serving Texas and actually the whole Western United States. There's these flamethrowers like 820 AM that just reach out and torch all across the country with this great message that comes out of WBAP. I love being able to come in and fill in here, and I enjoy Chris's show. I like listening. I like listening during the day, and I tune into the app because I don't live in the market, so I'm an app listener, and I also listen. We listen on the Alexa, the Alexa. Boy, did I sound like a guy in his 60s? The Alexa. I'm on the Facebook. We listen on Alexa. So my kids, during the break there at the top of the hour, I went out. We do family prayer together every night. We're big prayers in my house. And so we do family prayer. The kids were waiting for me to say family prayer. So I went out at 9 o'clock, or at 10 o'clock rather, and they were standing there waiting, but the show was still going on the Alexa because of the delay. And so I'm talking, but I'm standing there in the kitchen, and they were a little bit freaked out. And but I had a chance to hear just how good this station sounds. But it was kind of fun. My kids got to listen to me on WBAP, and we got our family prayer done back here with you guys for another hour. And it's really been good. If you got something to say, there's your chance right now. 1-800-288-9227. 1-800-288-WBAP. I'm filling in on the Chris Crock Show, and I love doing this, and I love the concept of what we're talking about. This is important information. What are we going to do about this country in November? Are we going to save it? You know, Donald J. Trump, he might not be the best candidate that we could have put forth, but he's the best candidate we have now. And I've always liked him. I liked him from an entertainment perspective because I've been a member of the media. I've been a member of the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, of the Screen Actors Guild, the Entertainers Unions. So I've been the entertainer guy. I've done movies. I've done TV. I like Donald Trump from that perspective. As a businessman, and I'm a relatively successful business guy, I really like Donald Trump, and that he's willing to take chances, take risks, and do things that most others wouldn't. That's why he's successful. And to be chided for that is unconscionable. You know, the fact that he took the risk, he put the millions on the line, he's been bankrupt because of his risks, and he came back. And that's what great business people do. If you're somebody like a George Soros, you make it on the backs of others. That's no way to make a living. You make a living with others. And Donald Trump is famous for bringing people up in his organization, for building people up, for being a strong contributor financially and emotionally to the people in his organizations. I've always liked him. The minute he walked down those stairs, I knew that's who I was going to vote for. I liked Ross Perot a million years ago. You remember Ross Perot? You guys, you know Ross Perot, the Texas guy. He was kind of annoying. He wasn't a great communicator. Sounds like Donald Trump, huh? He was a billionaire. At that time, I think he was worth $4 billion, which is an amazing amount. What was it, 30 years ago that he was running for president as an independent? And he almost got it. He almost did it. But we needed him then, like we need Donald Trump now. Donald Trump, we already know the proof's in the pudding. He's the devil we know. If you don't like Donald Trump, he's the devil we know. We know both the devils. This is the one that had a great economy. We had no issues worldwide, globally, as far as our relationship around the world. Now we're the laughing stock. People laugh at our president, the other world leaders. They look at him and think, what in the world is wrong with you? You know, how do you people put somebody like that in? You imagine Putin, that arrogant piece of garbage, how he laughs. I'll bet he just chides on stupid Americans and your governor or your president. You know, think about it. So anyway, I don't get a chance to be here often, but when I do, I sure love the opportunities to talk to you. If you want to hear more of me, a little shameless self-promotion, the Big Jim Smith podcast, it's produced through Cumulus, through another market, but it gives you a chance to hear what we're doing. It's the Big what's up? I know. I had never even listened to a podcast, and I was contacted, and they said, will you do a podcast? And I said, yeah, I can try this. And it started out, I did my very first podcast. I didn't know what in the world I was doing. And I had a great interview with Dave Turin from Gold Rush. Dave and I have now become very good friends, and I love Dave. Next time I fill in on WBAP, I'll get Dave to come on. The fun part with Dave is he'll answer your questions about gold mining, and they're really good, and he knows what he's talking about. But that's how we launched it. How somehow or another this podcast has stayed in the top 150 in the world and in the nation in the government category, and has been in and out of the top 100 on Apple Podcasts in the government category. I don't know why it's so huge. Maybe you can tell me. But anyway, check it out. I want you to give me your feedback. The Big Jim Smith podcast. Okay, this is it. We've got one more call. Let's go to Chris in Princeton. Welcome to WBAP. Chris, tell me what you think the cure is. What are we going to do? This is going to wind us down for the night. Hello, Chris.
Yeah, you put the speakers on and getting feedback.
Oh, there you go. Garrett's getting him straightened out there. Yeah, make sure to turn your radio off, Chris. You just listen to us through the phone. Otherwise, it'll drive you crazy. Are you there, Chris?
Are you there, man?
Hi, Chris.
Hi there.
Welcome to the show. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thanks.
Okay.
My wife helped me set up the phone.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you just want to listen through the phone, because if you try to listen through your radio and talk to me, it'll drive you nuts. So we've got about 2 minutes. Tell me, what do you think our ticket for success is here?
Your ticket for success, mostly is just to remember what matters the most. And as a veteran, the one thing I've learned is that, it's all about America, regardless of where we're from, who we are. We may have differences, but that's our ticket to success. I want to see America be successful. I want to see it go ahead, and I want different ideas. And that, to me, is what frustrates me as a veteran, is because we don't have dialogue. We don't talk. When I was in the Navy, we may not have totally agreed. We may not have even liked each other, but we respected one another, and we took care of one another. And that is what's missing more than anything else.
Well, there's such a deep chasm, and I mean even within the conservative party, within the GOP, there's such a chasm that people aren't working together. But really, no one's reaching across the aisle like they used to do years ago. And that I think you're absolutely right. We have to communicate. I made a post. I commented on a post on Facebook yesterday about a guy getting a book out of the adult category at the library, and I said you had no business doing that, and the people came unglued on me instead of just respecting that I had an opinion. Now all of a sudden I'm a pariah. Chris, thank you so much for your service. God bless you. I hope you have an incredible Independence Day tomorrow. And thank you for your service to our country. You don't know how grateful I am to you for your willingness to do that work. So thank you for calling the show.